crap. James, just run. Just run. Shit. Oh crap. Okay, maybe, James. We're just gonna maybe. We're gonna hope the maybe will work. Get out of here. Get out of here, molester. Through the door. Back away.
Open.
I'm gonna open it. This is the end of the level.
Got him.
Just get onto the platform. Just get onto the platform. Remember me! Oh. Okay.
Wait, how did...
I don't know. I'm not gonna argue with it. What is up, Prideful Nerds? My name is Kyle, and we are here with our third review. This is on the Necropolis. So, this is a game that just came out here recently on the 12th, and I purchased the game, and the game is designed and developed by Harebrained Schemes, and it has been published by them and Bandai Namco, which, if you guys are familiar with Namco, they make the Tales series, like Tales of the Abyss, Tales of Symphonia, those kind of games, which are great games. I love them. I highly recommend them. For anyone who likes JRPGs and anime and things like that, you'll love the game. Now, that's not about this. This is about Necropolis. So, anyway, I went ahead and I started the game. Now, this game is kind of a it's a dungeon crawler game. A lot of people are comparing it to Dark Souls, as how difficult it is. I would say this game is easier than Dark Souls, but I can kind of see where they're getting that. The fighting style and everything's kind of the same. There's kind of like the lack of resources. A lot of enemies. The enemies will hit you hard if they get to you, and you're very squishy in the dungeon, no matter what kind of armor you have. And yeah, the game itself has a lot of hate going on for it. And we're going to get into that. What first I want to talk to you about is my view of the game. People's view of the game, going over the price, and what it's going to get. So let me go ahead and start out with what I've done with the game so far. The game I've sunk in is about 7 hours. I put a lot of time into this game. I played a lot of it. I personally have had a lot of fun with the game. The game is incredibly fun. If you own this game, it is fun. Really fun to play with friends. There is a little bit of issues, though. Number one, there are a lot of bugs. A few bugs that I can list off is sometimes enemies will just randomly come out of the walls. Sometimes enemies will be stuck on the walls or stuck on an object. And other times, this isn't a bug, per se. The fighting is very clunky. I don't know if this is a bug or if this was an intent on the developer, but the fighting is very clunky. It's very slow at times, and depending on what weapon you're holding, it can be slow, but it just doesn't feel natural. I don't really know how to describe it. If you're watching the game of me like fighting or something, you can kind of see that it's just kind of clunky. I don't mind the combat, but I can kind of see that there are a lot of people who are complaining about the combat being clunky. But to me, it wasn't a game killer. The game itself is amazing. There's 9 different tiers, 9 different zones that you go down, and they get increasingly difficult as time goes along. And there's just things all over the place. There's actually a really cool thing about the dungeons is that there are actually like hidden rooms that you can find. There's like writing on the wall. If you go to the writing on the wall, and it'll reveal itself, and it'll tell you, like a little bit of the story about the dungeon or something. Now, the thing about this is a lot like the way the story goes. It kind of reminds me about Dungeon Defenders. If you guys have ever played Dungeon Defenders, the story never takes itself seriously. You're doing things in dungeons and Dungeon Defenders, defending against like orcs and stuff, but there's no real serious story. It goes for the same here. The enemies and everything are really cool, but as far as the story goes, it's there's not even much going on. Like there's a couple times where like the text on wall will actually literally say LOL or LOL or Raffle, things like that. This story does not take itself seriously whatsoever. I kind of didn't like that. I kind of hoped that there would be kind of like a little bit of a mystery kind of thing. I was hoping that there would be kind of like a secret behind this so far. Now, I've only gotten to the 4th floor, but the game doesn't take itself seriously, guys. I'm just going to say that flat out. If you're going to go into this game like expecting to kind of like do some like role play thing, when you're playing with friends, like trying to take this thing seriously, like you're going on a grand quest or something, don't expect that, because it doesn't take itself seriously whatsoever. But the dungeons itself are fun. The enemies are fun. They're all challenging. I really enjoy the game. Overall, the gameplay is amazing. There's no story to this. I'm going to tell you right now, there's no story to this. There's like this pyramid dude that tells you to do things, and you kind of do them, and you just move down, and you get gear and stuff like that. Now, think about the gear. That's another thing I want to get into. As far as the gear goes, the gear is awesome. Now, the thing about it, there are many different weapons. There's many different shields, different types of armor sets, and you'll find them everywhere. Now, the thing about it is that the game does not tell you any stats whatsoever. Now, people are complaining about this as well. They don't have any stats. You kind of got to pick up the weapon. You got to see how fast it is. You can see what power it does. You have to experiment with it. Which I actually personally like that, and I'm going to tell you why. If you were really going into a dungeon and you found a sword lying on the ground, do you think a little window is going to really pop up in real life saying that it gives you 9 intellect, 9 stamina, it does 47 to 64 damage, it can do a crit? You know, it's not. No, it's not. You really, if in real life you would test the weapon out, you're going to see how good it cuts. You're gonna see this is real. Okay, this is like a real thing. I really like that. It adds to the challenge. Like, you don't know if this is better than the other. Another thing people complain about is there's no health bars for the enemy, so you don't know how much damage you're doing. Okay, there's no health bars in real life. I really like this as far as that. I wish they kind of like gave it a backup story, and this would be like a really realistic kind of game. Like a fantasy kind of thing, but it's a game, so I can understand why there's no stats. People are complaining about that, but I personally like that. It kind of adds to the challenge of the game, and I really like the challenge. It's not like Dark Souls. Dark Souls, I rage and quit. Like, I cannot play Dark Souls. This game, if I lose, I don't mind starting over at the end, and that's another thing people are complaining about. I got to tier 4, I died in like 5 seconds, I start over at level 1. With a brand new character, I lose all my gear, I lose all my jewels, but I do keep these tokens, and these tokens you can use. I'll tell you about the tokens in a minute, but you do keep the tokens. People are complaining about that. I personally don't mind. It's okay, because the thing about this game is it is random generated. Every dungeon is different. It's a random seed map. So when you start a game, it's completely different than the last. There are some things, like the beginning zone is always the same, but when you get further and further down, they're all different. So there's going to be different enemies, there's going to be different loot. Sometimes a wall popped open in a hallway, and it looks like the same hallway you were in before, but the wall doesn't pop open this time. The beginning zone is the only thing that stays the same. That stays the same. You're going to have the same 3 skeletons when you run down the stairs. You're going to have this one room that will open up in there, and you get some nice gears and stuff maybe, and you go down, and that's when the game changes. The game changes when you start going into the real actual dungeon. But it makes it incredibly entertaining because it's always different. Now, as far as the tokens you get, you can buy tomes with, and with these tomes, you can only have 1 tome at a time, and these tomes are going to like help you with defense. Now, this is where it gets ridiculous as far as the stats thing. Now, the stats thing, I think it's kind of ridiculous that so many people are kind of complaining that it doesn't give you the stats and things. I can understand that because it's a weapon, you're flinging it around. It's really more your personal taste, what kind of weapon you use, and I kind of like that it doesn't give you stats. It adds to a challenge. Where I do have a complaint is that these tomes that you get are very vague. One hints that it can help you with defense, but it doesn't give you assurance that it's helping you with defense. So you waste these tokens on these books, and sometimes you just don't know what they are. Sometimes they're easy to understand. Like, it talks about how it gives you all the recipes for potions and stuff, and there's like crafting. There's a little crafting thing. I kind of like how it works. And you can cook food and potions and stuff. Anyway, that tome helps you clear those out, and it makes it apparent. It's like, thank God I know all the potions in this dungeon now and stuff. That's really the description for it. And other times it's like, you need thicker armor, idiot. And it's like, That's what the book says. It's like, okay, so does this help with defense? Does this help me get better armor drops? Like, what does it do? It doesn't make it apparent. You really don't know what's going on. So I really have a complaint about that. I think they really need to make the books, this helps with defense, this helps with this. You don't have to make it so vague, guys. You just give us a clear state. Just give us a clear path, at least on one thing in this game. That's the thing about this game, is that it is all vague. You don't know what's going on, which makes sense when you're in a dungeon. You're dungeon crawling, and if you were dungeon crawling in real life, you're in a dungeon, there's not going to be things that are clear. You kind of got to figure it out for yourself. But at least with the stats, make that clear, okay? I do have a complaint about that. It's the only thing really so far with this game I've really had a complaint about, and that and the bugs, you know, with the enemies stuck to the wall. Sometimes there are gems on the floor that you use to purchase things, and sometimes you run over to try to pick them up, and sometimes you can't pick them up for some reason. That's a weird bug. I'm pretty sure these guys are going to fix these things, but for now, I can understand the complaints on the bugs. The bugs sometimes does affect the game pretty bad, but I have not run into bugs that often. Some people are saying they run into them all the time. I've been playing for 7 hours. I think I've run into like 3 or 4 bugs. And they're all minor. Enemies are stuck to the walls, and then one time I tried to pick up gems and I couldn't pick them up. You know, that really is the only bugs I've run into so far. Now, the last thing I want to get to with this is the playing with friends. Now, okay, I take it back. I have 2 complaints, because this is the other one. You can hit your friends, and you actually hit pretty hard. So when you're grouped with, I was grouped with 3 people. Now, I think the max you can have is 5 or 4. Don't count me on that, but I think it's 5 is the max. And if you're fighting with a group of friends and you're trying to stay together, because if you guys separate, then you know you're going to get hosed if you separate, because the dungeon knows how many players that you brought in, and it'll make it that much harder. It'll make it to where you need 3 people or 4 people or 5 people all at the same time. And if you're fighting in a group and you're swinging swords everywhere, and sometimes there are these like spears that have a really long range, and if everybody had spears, you guys would be hitting each other all the time. I died playing with my friends like 10 times, and 9 of them were from my friends hitting me by accident, and vice versa. It was the same. Most of their deaths were caused because I was hitting them or they were hitting each other. And I think if you want to have that like realism mode, it should be optional. It's not optional right now. I think that needs to be optional, because, you know, don't make this an all-around rage game. I would say that you need to have the realism option turned off if you have a choice to play with your friends, because what that would do is that would allow us to enjoy playing with friends rather than having to constantly watch where your friends are all the time and you getting killed in the process because you're too busy trying to figure out where they are. So that I can understand as far as a complaint goes. But those are two complaints I have, is that the stat system with the books is not clear, and you can hit your friends. Other than that, this is a really fun game, guys. I have really enjoyed. I have played 7 hours of it. I plan to put in easily 50-60 hours into this game, easy. And but let's get to the price in a minute, because I want to go ahead and talk about and address what on earth is going on with the complaints as far as people on Steam are doing there. Now, the Steam reviews currently is at 63% with 797 user reviews, okay? So out of all the reviews, 507 are positive, 290 are negative. Now, there is each complaint, each negative review has the same things over and over, okay? The price, which is an understandable complaint, and the bugs. And then there's a couple of complaints every once in a while. People will say that the world feels empty or the graphics aren't great. The graphics are kind of cartoony, but you know what? I kind of like them. I actually, personally, in my point of view, I think it's in the eye of the beholder on this one. I personally like it. But what I do understand is and then there's some people that are complaining it's difficult, but it's a dungeon crawler game. It's supposed to be difficult, you know? Don't get this game if you expect it to be easy, because it's not. This is a really difficult game. I have gotten to level 4 is the highest I've ever gotten, and I got an achievement for passing most gamers. Most people, I think, get stuck on the 2nd and 3rd levels. I got a little beyond that. So, anyway, as far as their complaints go. Like I said, they're complaining that the weapon system and the tome system isn't clear. I understand the tome, the weapon. It's like, I personally disagree with most complaints on that. I think it's kind of fun to where you don't know what the weapon does. It's kind of like more, it's more of a guessing game, and I kind of like that because that's how it would be in real life. If you were to get a bunch of weapons, it more is or less is kind of up to your judgment. There's not going to be a little text window that says, oh, well, this sword does 50 to 60 damage while this one does 70 to 80 damage. It really is not going to happen in real life, so I kind of like that. It kind of keeps with a little bit of realism. And like I said, the graphics thing, I think it's going to depend on the person. I personally like the graphics, to be honest. The bugs, I just seriously, I think they're going to fix those, guys. I don't think it's a game killer. I've run into a few bugs, and now the only bug that I can think of now, and I just thought of this because I just experienced it. A lot of people were talking about how the frame rate just drops to nothing. I haven't experienced that until today. I just played this game. I played a quick playthrough real quick. I got to level 2 and then I died, but I wanted to play it one more time before I did the review, and actually right when the game started, it went from going from 60 frames down to 3 frames, and it lasted a good 2-3 seconds. Now personally, that's not, out of 7 hours, having the frame rate drop to really low like that for only 3 seconds is not bad, guys. Okay, every game is going to experience a lag spike, or it's going to experience a frame rate drop. Most games have those at some point, no matter how long you play them for, that's going to happen. So, personally, I don't think that's much of an issue. There's some reviewers on here saying that it happened to them every time they played. I personally, it only happened one time, guys. I can't think of another time where I had this issue. Now, those are really the complaints. Now, it's going to come down to the price, okay? So, as far as the price goes, it is $30. Most people say this is worth more like $15 to $20, and I happen to agree with them. This game is very expensive, and it only offers 9 levels, and for what you get, it's going to come down to this. Do you like dungeon crawling games? And do you have a lot of friends to play with? If you have a lot of friends to play with, then this game is worth it. It really is. It's really fun to play with friends. If you don't have a lot of friends that play on the computer and stuff like that, and you want to play this by yourself, I would wait for this game to go on sale, to be honest. This game, at the moment, $30 I think is too high. I think they need to ask. I think this game is more worth $14.99 to $19.99, to be honest, not $29.99. Okay, so I agree with them in the end. So I have been thinking all night of whether giving this worth a try or not, and I still don't know. I've kind of dragged this review on because I don't know what I should give it. As far as a grade, I'm currently, due to the bugs and due to the slight lack of content, I think they need to add more, especially for $30. I'm going to give it a C. Okay, I'm going to give this game a C. Now, once the bugs and everything, I'm going to do a revisit on this, guys. I'm going to do a revisit. I would probably bump it up to a B if it didn't have the bugs, and it actually, if it was a lower price, I would be giving this a B right now. But I'm going to give it a C. And I'm going to put a buyer beware warning. I've just made this up off the top of my head just now. It's a buyer beware. If you do not have more than 3 or 4 friends that play on Steam, I would hold off on this game until it goes on sale, because as of right now, this game is fun with friends. And if you guys currently own this, play it. It is really fun. And the reason I'm giving this a passing grade is because I personally really enjoy this game. I have had so much fun with this game. I played it to do the first look, and when I stopped recording, I kept playing. I played it all day yesterday, guys. The entire day I had off, I played this game. And I love it. It is a fun game. Every time it's different, and there's different weapons. I don't know how many weapons that this game has, but I've personally had probably 50, 60 different weapons, and there are still new ones that I'm finding. It is fantastic. The only problem is it's that stupid $30 price tag. This game is. Oh, I really want to say it's worth $30, but you know what? The bank side of me, the part of me that loves cash, is telling me this isn't worth $30. Okay, there's not enough content. There really isn't enough content. Personally, it's fun, but it is not. There's not enough content. There's only 9 levels, guys. Now, I don't know if many people are going to hit 9 levels. If you guys hit 9 levels, you guys are amazing. MLG all the way, guys. But I don't think there's enough content as of yet. Now, I believe full-heartedly that they're going to add more. I hope that they add more. Like I said, I'm going to give this another month. I'm going to do a revisit. If the bugs aren't fixed, if they haven't added more content, I expect a price drop. If there is no price drop, I will probably not give this a passing grade. Even though I'm having fun on it, it's that price tag that really is keeping me. But for right now, I'm going to give this a passing grade. I'm going to pass this game along through and say that it is worth getting if you have plenty of friends to play with and if they are willing to get the game. I'm having fun. I play just by myself and I'm having fun. But at the same time, I'm like, this is $30. And I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun. I'm like, would I pay $30 for this again? Knowing that it has so many bugs and some of the things that I know now, I probably would have held off until it was on sale, to be perfectly honest. So, as far as the gaming price goes, and as far as the price per hour. So personally, I'm thinking I'm probably going to put about 50 hours into this game, okay? So we're $30 at 50 hours. It's going to be about 60 cents an hour. So looking at it that way, I would say this is worth getting if you have friends and if you intend on playing this game for 50 plus hours. If it's any lower than that, I would say it's not worth getting. So what I recommend is that I did do a first look, and that first look is like 55 minutes or something like that. It was something crazy like that. I kept playing for a long time. Watch it. Okay? Watch the whole thing. And just watch how the game goes and go, is this something I want to get? And if it is, and if it looks fun to you, get the game. If you're like, I'm probably going to be playing by myself, wait for it to go on sale. Okay? I guarantee you this Christmas it's going to go 50% off to $14.99. $14.99, I get this game. I would get the game in a heartbeat for $14.99. So anyway, guys, at a C, 60 cents an hour at 50 hours. If you have friends on the PC that are willing to get the game as well, I would say this game is definitely worth checking out.